The world becomes one.
Online-Kongress.
Kinder der Zukunft!
Aloha mai kako. My name is Familie Alapa'i. Aloha. I am a teacher of my family's tradition, Ho'oponopono and Ho'oponopono Lomi Lomi. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to just acknowledge the team at Energize, Melanie and her team of experts that have put their energy and their intention in bringing this conference to the world. We believe so much in our children. It is such a big subject for us. They are our drive, our motivation, our inspiration. And when we view the future generations, when we view children, there's hope for us. That's where our immortality lives. That's where we can put all of our intention, all of our knowledge, all of the things that we have learned, good and bad, and we can teach it to our children so that their future can be bright, so that they can go further than we have ever done, that they can skip some really hard lessons because we have taught them what we have learned in our lifetime. So, mahalo to the team for bringing this conference to the world. Mahalo. So some suggestions that I would like to just briefly talk about is that we believe during this interesting time, there is a lack of touch. There is a lack of embrace. There is a lack of one-on-one energy exchange that I am noticing. And because I am a healer of Lomi Lomi, that is the Hawaiian massage, there's a big difference now. There's something going on because of Corona and everyone's in mask and 6 feet apart. And for our kids, they don't know the importance of that anymore. They don't know that we need to embrace. And just a 30-second hug can change your whole physiology, can calm your system, your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight mode. It can calm all of that. It can soften and make you feel love and that care, that unconditional love. So please, hold your children, embrace your grandchildren, embrace your nieces and nephews. Tell them that you love them. A nice pat on the back, a 30-second hug makes the world, because they can't get it anywhere else right now during this interesting time. So that is my biggest message right now as a healer. Another thing for our children is we teach them to memorize their mo'okuauhau from a very young age. And mo'okuauhau is our lineage. That is the names of all of our ancestors that have come before us. And we teach this at a young age because it is so important to know your ohana. First off, that knowing your ohana or your ancestors you come from can help you make connections. And what I mean by this is that if you know who your grandparents are, your great-grandparents are, and you meet someone new and you start talking with that person, like, oh, my grandmother was so-and-so, and my grandfather was so-and-so, or my grandfather lived in that area. What is your last name? So knowing your ancestors' names can help you connect with people today. Hawaiians, the first thing we do when we get together with someone new, we're like, oh, so who's your grandmother? What's your last name? Are you related to so-and-so? Because we want to make a connection. We want to be family. That is our goal. And if we go far enough back in our mo'okuauhau, in our family lineage, we can see that eventually we're kind of all related. So we teach our kids from young, their lineage. Also, knowing your lineage when you're teaching this to your kids, it helps them to realize all of the prayers and intentions that our ancestors left for us all those hundreds of years ago. that your great-great-grandfather planted this beautiful hardwood tree within hopes that their great-great-grandson is using that tree to construct his new home. Or maybe your grandmother went around the entire place looking for specific herbs and brought it to her yard and knew that one day in the future that her family, the next generations, were going to use that herbs, that they didn't have to go far and look for it because grandma did the legwork, and now it's right outside in the yard. You just walk right outside and you can help yourself. That's the loving intentions that our ancestors thought out for us all those generations ago. Their prayers are felt even today. Their knowledge, their ike, their lessons of life, it's still passed through the generations, and with the hope that it makes it easy for them, with the hope that they can stand on our shoulders, our children, and be able to navigate the waters of this ever-changing world, that they're going to have tools to do that. Another suggestion is let kids be kids. Let kids play. Let kids be fun. Let kids be kids and enjoy their childhood. Yes, they're going to need guidance. Yes, grades matter. Yes, we have expectations as parents. Of course we do. We've been dreaming about our kids and we want them to be president one day, or a lawyer, or a doctor. Hold that dream, but remember to flex too. See what they want to do. What was their sole purpose on this earth? What's going to make them happy and inspired to help, to do whatever they want? Mold that. Help them guide that. Let's not push our expectations on our kids. Also, in Ho'oponopono Lomi Lomi, we believe that when we can revert back to that childlike state that each and every one of us is capable of, it automatically takes us out of our mind, out of our brain, and into our hearts. And that's how we turn off the mind, by playing, by being silly, by being that childlike spirit again. So if you need a tool to get out of your head that it's creating migraines, it's creating stress, that you just need a break, play. Play. However simple that sounds, it will work. Go and kick a soccer ball, jump in the ocean, color with crayons, watch a cartoon. Play. It will take you directly out of your head and into your heart. And so let your kids be that. Let your kids play and enjoy and be silly. There is time for work, of course, but make sure it's balanced. Make sure there's work and play. As much as you work, you play just as hard. That's my suggestion. Also, for you parents, all of you beautiful parents, we have our work cut out for us. Not only do we have to realize that there is touch missing nowadays because of this interesting time, but also that we have to compete with the internet and TikTok and YouTube just to get attention from our kids, just to try and connect with them. It's important to connect with our kids. And as parents, you have to be creative right now in this interesting time to compete with YouTube and TikTok, all of the latest crazes out there. But you can do it. Be creative. Ask your guides for help of how we can connect with our family. How can I connect with my kids? Some of the things I do is we have a beach day once a week. And I schedule this for myself. Even though I'm a very busy mama, we schedule that time to go to the ocean and swim. Also, we play games after dinner. We love card games. And the excitement is there just as much as if they were playing a game on the computer. So you need to be creative of how you approach this. and maybe even flexible and find out what your children like. My 15-year-old loves anime, and Japanese anime. So I started to watch with her so I could relate with her. And then you should have seen her eyes light up and just want to tell me all about this new anime that she's watching and get so excited. And that is good because I was connecting with her on however level. And again, no expectations. Kind of be flexible. Listen to your kids. Whatever makes them excited, know about it. So good luck, parents. Be creative. Find a way, an avenue. Even if you have to join them in their video game, even if you have to make up your own game, even if you have to schedule time to like go to the ocean, go to the park. However it has to be, do it. It's important. It's important for our kids to know and see our effort to want to connect. I would also like to share about Ho'oponopono, my family's tradition. And when I was growing up, we did this almost every night as a family. After dinner, my father would circle us up, and he made it a priority for us to have a safe place to express ourselves, to process our day, to process our emotions of that day. And when I was little, I thought it used to be a game when we did our Ho'oponopono sessions. And then when I got to a teenager, I was kind of like, no, I have nothing to share. No, I have nothing to lele. No, I don't really want to do this anymore. It was kind of like a teenage attitude. And I quickly just want to share this story with you that I was probably 13 or 14 years old, and that's the age where you go to middle school here in Hawaii. So I had a new group of friends, and I went to a different school, and of course I wanted to be normal, and I wanted to be liked, that desire to be liked and normal. And my new friend Becky was going to stay over at my house, and I was excited for her to come over, and this is my first sleepover. And I asked my father, please Dad, can we not do Ho'oponopono tonight because my friend is sleeping over? I want her to think I'm normal. And my father just laughed, and he said, nope, she's going to join us. And that was it. No arguing. So I felt a little bit shame, but it was okay. So we circled up after dinner, and my father said a prayer. He always prayed before we began our sessions, and we started the process, and we shared our best day. And if there was anything negative in that day that we didn't want to hold on to, anything we needed to lele. Lele means to give up to a higher source, to let go. And I kind of forgot what everybody said, but when it came to my turn, I said, of course I shared my best of my day, which was my friend was here sleeping over, and I was so excited for her to be here. And then what I needed to lele, what I wanted to let go, was my mama said she was going to do something for me that day, and she didn't. So I felt disappointed, and I expressed that in my session. I said something like, I feel hurt that you said you were going to do this for me and you didn't, and I am affected by it now. And my mom, in return, apologized. I am so sorry for making you feel that way. That was not my intention. The day I had so much errands today that I didn't have enough time to complete what you wanted. And I'm sorry, and I apologize. Please forgive me. And just that small interaction between us, I said, Mom, I forgive you, I understand, and I love you. and in hugs and moved on. But after that Ho'oponopono session, after all my brothers and sisters went and my mom and dad, my friend came up to me and she said, "Wow, you can tell your parents when you're mad at them?" And I looked at her and the realization of a 13-year-old came into play. That, yes, actually, I can tell my parents if I'm upset or how I'm feeling. I'm allowed to, I told her. And my friend was so emotional because she couldn't tell her own parents, that she couldn't connect to that deep level of trust and feeling safe in a space to express herself, even if she was mad or upset or sad with her own parents. And that hit me right here in the heart, and I'm still getting emotional every time I tell that story, because what we had was special. What our family had was special, that we could share anything with our parents and not be reprimanded or punished for it. Or I'm sure they would be disappointed, but that unconditional love, that aloha that we had between each other was unbreakable. So no matter if I did a mistake, I think one time I even told my parents that I tried smoking in our sessions, and of course I didn't get reprimanded. They were disappointed, but that's how close and safe I felt that I could share my experiences. And that was what my father wanted. And as a parent today, that's what I want for my kids. So we use this process, Ho'oponopono. And I kind of want to break it down for you because it has changed my life. And it has changed, I can't imagine being a parent to my 4 daughters without Ho'oponopono in my life. So let's get out a paper and pen and let's just write some things down. I'm going to try and break down the steps of the Ho'oponopono process that you can use with your family, with your friends, with your students, with your nieces, nephews, however, a group. You can use it. So, first, my father always made a time, a designated time, which was after dinner, and then we would circle up. Now, I'm a modern day mama. I have organizations I'm running, I have a career, I play taxi driver to my kids and all of their extracurricular activities. So I know that we sometimes don't have the luxury to set a time or schedule a time. So I had to be creative again. And one of my suggestions is when we're in the car. So I pick them up from school, they're all in the car, and we do a round of Ho'oponopono. What was the best of your day? What was bad about your day? What do you need a lele? What do you need a release? Did you feel sadness, anger, jealousy, fear at all today? Let's release that and process it. So my suggestion is in the car. We do it before bed. When we're talking about our day, what our schedule is, we'll do a Ho'oponopono session in bed. When we're playing or on the cards, doing our card games, we do a round of Ho'oponopono. So be creative about when you can do this. The next step is pule, prayer. We always prayed, and we are a prayerful people. We wake up, we pray. Before we eat, we pray. Before we do ceremonies or meetings, talk story meetings, we pray. Before we go to bed, we pray. And that is because we are asking for that higher power, whatever you recognize it to be. Yes, that higher force, greater than us, to come and assist us, to come and raise our vibration to the highest degree of pono. Because Ho'oponopono, ho'o is the action word, and pono means right or righteous. But now we have an extra pono, another pono, which means even more right, even more righteousness. So not just right, but the ultimate right, the ultimate righteousness. That's what ho'oponopono means. So that is what we're looking for. So we pray. And your prayer can be very simple. Pray from your heart. Like, mahalo for thank you for having my family all gather at this time. Mahalo for your help and your guidance. Yes. Ask for a beautiful outcome for your ho'oponopono session. Ask that all participants will feel better once they leave. Whatever is in your heart, pray. Yes. Next, usually the haku is what we call the person who is running the ho'oponopono session. And the haku is usually the oldest member, grandma, grandpa, dad, mom, some kind of elder, some kind of figure, because they're more wise. They've been through a lot more than than us. So we give them that honor. Yes, and I think it's easier for them to tap into the wisdom. So whoever the haku is, their job is just to guide the ho'oponopono session. In my family, it was my father. So he would pray, and then he would say, let's begin. And we would take turns and go around the circle. So the first person that was selected, they would say their best of their day. Even if they had like a really good day and there was several bestesses, we would pick our ultimate bestesses, our ultimate best of our day. And in our family, we never started with the pilikia, the problem. We always started with a positive on anything that we did, because it raises our vibration. It softens the hurt that sometimes we carry. It makes us think of a different way when we are injured or feeling victim. So we start with the positive, raise our vibration. So after we say our positive, then if there's anything to lele, remember lele means to release to a higher power, to let go, to not hold on. And if we felt any fear, anger, jealousy, sadness, any of those unwanted low vibrational energies, this was our time to let it out. So if, for instance, like that story I told you, I had a pilikio with my mama, a problem with my mama. And again, in a respectful way, I told her that I felt disappointed that she did not follow through on what she was going to do for me. And my mama, in return, apologized and acknowledged the way I felt, and acknowledged that that was not her intention for me to feel that way. Acknowledged that it was not her intention for me to feel that way, but also that she could not do what I wanted. And she explained that to me. And because I understood that, I was able to release that. I was able to release. Yes, I understand, Mom. I understand that you had a lot to do that day and you couldn't get to it. And then she would come with me with a solution, right, to make me feel better, to comfort me. And she would say, tomorrow, after my lunch break, I can go and do that for you. So there's a solution. And then, of course, we hugged and we embraced and we forgave each other. And that was the kala, the release. When you get to this step, especially with small kids, I remember when my kids were small and they kind of didn't really know yet, I printed out a emoji sheet, the smiley faces. One side had all the positive emojis on it, and the other side had the not so good emojis. So positive had the smiley face, had the stars in the eyes, had the just everything positive. On the opposite side, we had the emoji with the sad face, maybe a tear, maybe the one with the smoke coming out of their ears and the nostril, saying that they're angry. But they got to pick and choose what they were feeling. Of course, we started with the positive. So you pick the positive, and then they told you why they picked that emoji. And then after, we flipped over the paper and we had them pick the negative emotion, the not so good emotion. And then we would ask them what happened. This step, you have to be gentle, of course, because you're dealing with little kids. And they're going to need a little bit of guidance until they can think on their own what they can do differently. So you would ask them, what could I have done differently? What was a lesson that I learned here? What was my small part in the responsibility? So let's say a brother and sister is fighting, and the brother stole the sister's toy. And in the Ho'oponopono session, the sister expresses that it made her feel sad and angry that her brother stole the toy. Now, as the haku, as the person who is guiding the session, they would acknowledge the brother and say, "Brother, did you want sister to feel sad and angry when you stole her toy?" And you wait for his answer. If the answer is no, then you could ask him, well, how can we make her feel not sad and angry? How can we make it okay for her now? You might have to give some suggestions. Could you apologize and give her a hug? Could you maybe get some of your toys and play with your sister and have a fun time right now? Could you have asked sister if you could play with her toy before you stole it? Maybe use your nice words. This step is important for little kids because it takes them out of the feeling of victim or injured, and it makes them think of how they could have approached the situation differently. Now, if he did say, yes, actually, I wanted to make my sister sad, actually. Yes, I did want to make her angry. Then you, as the haku, you would have to go to him and ask him, well, what made you want to do that to her? What happened? Did something happen, brother? And wait for it. Usually there is some kind of pilikia within himself. Maybe he asked and she didn't want to give it to him, so he just took it. Or maybe he's feeling left out and he knew that negative attention was some sort of attention for him. So as the parent or the haku, we have to be aware of these things. So our suggestion is to ask him, okay, brother, we understand. What could you have done different in this situation? Could you maybe have told mom and dad that you were feeling this way and we could have gone and talked to sister? Or are you doing it because maybe you feel mom and dad aren't paying attention to you? So whatever it is, we're trying to find a solution and to switch that emotion. So if he was feeling left out, that snowballed into hurting his sister, right? Someone who is younger and probably has more attention. This is just an example of how kids respond, but we need them to understand, to process. So what can we do differently, brother? Could you have waited maybe until sister was finished with the toy? Could you have asked mom and dad for help in the situation? Could you have traded a toy? Maybe get one of your toys and traded a toy with her? So as a haku and the parent, you have to be creative with your kids and show them that there are different options and different avenues that they can take to get to that point that doesn't hurt someone, that's less impactful and hurtful to someone else. And that's with processing. After that, I would suggest that they hug, and because we do rely on that unconditional love within a Ho'oponopono session. A Ho'oponopono session can be so loving and so safe that we can share our deepest truths, even if it makes us the bad guy, even if it makes us look really, really low vibrational. But it's okay, because we depend on that love, that unconditional love in the circles. Like how I could just tell my parents, yes, Mom and Dad, I tried smoking and it actually made me really sick and I don't want to do it again. But I was able to express myself. Okay? So, that step, ask the kids how we could make it better. What lessons did we learn? How do you think it made the other person feel? Make them go into the other person's perspective, see their view. So, because with understanding comes compassion. And with compassion takes away the feeling of being a victim or the injured party. That's what we're trying to do. Then, of course, after everyone has taken their turn saying their best and whatever they needed to lele for that day, so it doesn't build up, doesn't have like a week of pilikia of problems and then you explode. No, we take care of it that day. Okay? After that, we all embrace, we pray, and we go to bed feeling really good. We go to bed feeling like I had a good day. That I processed whatever pilikia I was holding. We offer classes if this explanation does not make sense to you. We offer classes. Soon I'm hoping to even offer something to little kids. I have a 8, a 10, a 12, and a 15-year-old at home. And they are super fun and they keep me on my toes of being creative. So I'm right in that boat with all of you parents. And but again, we can teach you. I want to teach you my family's tradition because it was so good that I could process every day what I was feeling. So please visit our website. Please, we have newsletters of our upcoming classes in Ho'oponopono because this is a process. It is a process that we could use during this interesting time of our lives, of our children's lives. And remember, we see the next generation as an extension of us. We see the next generation as a better extension of us, of standing on our shoulders, like I said. And soon that lineage, that mo'okuauhau that our kids memorize, our names are going to be in there one day. Our lessons are going to be passed on to our grandchildren. What we have obtained in our life, lessons, our worth, our everything that we work on, it affects the future generation. So remember, when you are out and about and you are sharing aloha and love to everyone, that can affect the next generations and the generations to come. Maybe you're offering a free class and then that person is so inspired and passes it on to their kids and their grandchildren and their great-grandchildren. You can make an impact now by working on yourself. By working on yourself, your family, your people, your community. You can make a difference. And it carries on. Mahalo nui for listening to me and for hearing my suggestions. Our ohana, our family, believes that aloha can heal the world. And that we have all these tools and teachings that we can offer our kids. And I'm not saying our life is perfect. I'm not saying my life is perfect. I'm not saying that my kids are well-rounded, but they do have a tool that they can use and never feel lost. They don't ever have to feel lost or low or unable to help themselves. That is what Ho'oponopono is about. It's a tool that we can use for ourselves, to empower ourselves, to help us crawl out from the gutter. So, mahalo nui for listening to me. I hope that what I said has touched your heart and made sense. Mahalo. Aloha from Hawaii. Aloha.
Everyone ought to be, and aloha's what I say to you. Aloha is how we say I love you. Sing this song together, it will make you feel much better. Aloha means I love you. A is for Akua's help each day. L is for the love that flows our way. Oh, Ohana, all my sisters and my brothers. And H, how happy that everyone ought to be. And A, aloha's what I say to you. Aloha is how we say I love you. Sing this song together, it will make you feel much better. Aloha means I love you. Ho'oponopono gang.